Welcome. You're listening to John Hyman from Commercial Real Estate Online. If this is the first time you're visiting us, this is one of the training videos that we put out for commercial real estate agents and brokers around the world. And indeed, our website, if you'd like to visit that website, is commercial-realestate-training.com. At that website, you'll get plenty of tips, tools, and ideas to help you with your activities in sales, leasing, and property management. So, the topic of this particular video is a comprehensive landlord reporting process as far as shopping centre management goes today. Certainly in retail shopping centres and the management process, you'll find that the whole situation is quite complex. Certainly the property type is an investment property that is complex, that requires close monitoring and reporting. Many things can go wrong in a shopping centre that will have a big impact on property performance. If you compare the retail property type to that of other properties, and most particularly office or industrial, the level of reporting and control in retail is significantly higher and needs to be so. So office and industrial property are nowhere near the complexity of retail property when it comes to reporting. And certainly industrial property is quite basic. So you could say that the middle ground is office property, industrial property is at the basic end, and retail property is at the high end. So, that being said, the level of control and monitoring within these property types should also have a direct impact and relevance to the client, depending on their investment targets and their investment requirements when it comes to monitoring income and expenditure. So that being said, let's have a look at the retail property process. In retail, the level of control and reporting will be high, and higher management fees and leasing fees are required. So, let's look at landlord reports. The landlord reporting process in retail shopping centre management is significant. In a complex property of many tenants, specialty tenants and anchor tenants, there would be a need to report weekly, monthly, quarterly and annually. The intensity of reporting is required to help the landlord and the property manager stay ahead of any shifts in retail and also tenant key performance indicators. So here's a framework for you now of the various elements of the monthly report to a landlord in the management and leasing of a shopping centre. You can add to the framework based on your property type, its function and the location. So let's look at the first one, income. It stands to reason that the level of income being achieved from a property will be of great interest to the landlord and their financiers. So the income assessed will be both gross and net rental. That income will be split across categories such as outgoings recovery, impact of rental incentives, and supplementary income such as licenses and casual rents. Income, of course, should be optimised and compared to current market rental conditions and properties of similar type in your town or city. So you really do need to know what's going on in the market when it comes to rental income. Number 2, expenditure. The expenditure for a shopping centre will be diverse across many different categories. Some costs to run a property will be controllable, and they are such as maintenance, repairs and cosmetic renovations, whilst others will be uncontrollable, and they are rates and taxes, energy and insurance. So that's where the budgeting of expenditure becomes really important, and that's the job of the shopping centre manager. So the shopping centre manager would look at the budget prior to any financial year commencing and establish that budget ready to go as far as getting the income and expenditure out there and under control for the landlord for the year. Let's go to number 3. Rent reviews and options. Now, options for renewal and rent reviews are part of the cash flow for a retail shopping centre. The two factors are lease orientated and will have significant impact on the rentals and the income achieved from the property. Having been involved in larger shopping centres for some years, I would recommend that any rent reviews and options inside the next 18 months should be closely tracked. In that way you can establish market rental opinions, options and lease negotiations early and stay ahead of any critical dates. And of course those critical dates will be in the leases that are involved for the tenant and with the landlord. So let's go to number 4. Tenant mix changes and relocations. In larger retail properties, it's common to be moving tenants around and changing the clusters of tenants within the mix. That's how you achieve customer interest in the property and improve sales for the tenant categories. The process of change to the tenancy mix should be decided and set in the property business plan before the financial year starts. Number 5. MAT. That means moving annual turnover. The movement of turnover in a retail property should and would be monitored each month within the tenancy groups and the categories. That's the job of the shopping centre manager. You can also monitor the turnovers in clusters around the property to understand where sales are being made and not being made. Some parts of the property will be better than others when it comes to sales, and that is likely to be due to foot traffic and proximity to anchor tenants and the main entrances to the property itself. Number 6, marketing. Retail properties should be marketed to improve customer visits, sales and community awareness. It is normal for the retail tenants to contribute towards the marketing of a retail property. The contribution will normally be a percentage of their rental, and 5% is a standard number. Of course, the payment structure is factored into the lease itself for the property and or the premises. And that's where the centre manager would be able to be providing relative lease input and standard lease design when it comes to preparing for any lease that's coming up. Number 7, maintenance. Maintenance of a property. A large retail property will always have plenty of maintenance activity at any point in time, on any day. That activity should be tracked and managed to the expenditure budget for the property. Importantly, the expenditure itself should be maintained to industry standards and levels for the property type and size. The expenditure budget is set as part of the annual business plan for the property. And I always come back to that point. The business plan and the preparation for each financial year for the property is really important. Let's look at number 8, vacancy management. Most landlords don't want to have vacancies in their properties, although the occasional vacancy is certainly needed, especially when you need to renovate a part of the common area or the property or move tenants to improve the tenancy mix. On that basis, vacancy management is a special part of the business plan for that retail shopping centre. Number 9, lease negotiations and documentation. In any large retail property or shopping centre, there are plenty of lease issues under discussion and modification at any one time. That's where the monthly reporting process is of high value. You can and should update the landlord on the status of the outstanding lease negotiations and the documentation. And lastly, number 10, market conditions. When you look at your town or city and your retail property type and location, there are things to be tracked that will give you an understanding of property performance and rental volatility. Those factors will be market conditions. Comparable properties will have vacancy factors, redevelopment issues, market rentals, and factors of the tenancy mix that you can learn from. The landlord, of course, in your case, should always be briefed on those competing properties, those market rentals, those issues that other properties are struggling with, so you don't repeat the same problems. So they are the factors of the landlord reports: income, expenditure, rent reviews and options, tenant mix, MAT, marketing, maintenance, vacancy management, lease documentation and market conditions. It should also be said that the income and the expenditure here should be referenced to a budget within the property. So it's not just a matter of saying the income is doing one thing and the expenditure is doing another. They should be compared to the budget for the property so that the landlord knows how they're tracking to the budget which would have been established as part of the business plan. So let's go back a bit further here. As you can see, there's plenty of things to include in your retail property management report to your landlord client. There are specific things to be monitored and managed. Don't forget to charge a good fee of management and lease as part of the process of looking after that property for the client. As a market segment, retail property management and leasing is very special, and specific people with relevant retail skills are definitely required. So that's the summary of shopping centre management landlord reports. Of course, they will occur on a monthly basis. I did also say to you that beyond the monthly report, you'll also have special reports at the end of each week, and certainly quarterly and annual reports as the case may be. The larger the property, the more intense the reporting process could and should be. In that way, your landlord knows what's going on, and of course the centre manager understands at any given point in time where the opportunities are and how things are tracking from a property performance perspective. So, that's the end of this particular topic. You can visit our website, which is commercial-realestate-training.com. At that website, you'll get plenty of tips, tools and ideas relative to office property, office leasing, sales, also retail property, leasing, sales, and also industrial property, leasing and sales. And indeed, this is the website here. You can visit this website and get plenty of ideas to help you with all sorts of issues. And there's another training video there relating to sales planning for commercial real estate agents. The main concept of the website is to help agents and brokers around the world when it comes to their sales, leasing and property management activity, with a special note on retail property, and that of course that's one of the topics that we discussed today for you. So there you go, there's the website, and my name is John Hyman. Thanks for listening to this report today. It was on shopping centre management and landlord reporting as far as retail shopping centres go in this market today. I'll sign off for now, and I'll catch you again very soon on one of our regular training videos. This is John Hyman signing off for now.